There are lots of powerful benders across Avatar: The Last Airbender and The Legend of Korra, and today I am ranking the top 5 most powerful Earthbenders. This is Popcorn Heist, where I love discussing movies and TV and ranking things from worst to best. And I'm a huge fan of Avatar: The Last Airbender and The Legend of Korra. Throughout the month of April, I'll be discussing the most powerful benders in each element. And I already discussed the most powerful waterbenders last week, so if you're interested in that, go check that video out as well. Today, I'm discussing the most powerful Earthbenders. The following week, I'll be discussing the most powerful Firebenders. And then the final week of April, I'll be discussing the most powerful Airbenders. So definitely subscribe if you're interested in those videos or other Avatar, Legend of Korra, or movie and TV content in general. This is your spoiler warning for Avatar: The Last Airbender and The Legend of Korra. I will be ranking characters based on how powerful they are in each bending type, so in this case, Earthbending. I will not be including how powerful characters are using Earthbending or any type of bending when they're in the Avatar state, because I feel like that gives an unfair advantage to Avatars. I will, however, be ranking based on the sub-bending genres in addition to the initial bending type. So in this case, for Earthbending, I will be including Korra Earthbending and Metalbending and Lavabending. But before getting to the ranking, at Popcorn Heist, I choose a quote per video, and the quote of today's video is, "Neutral Jing is the key to Earthbending. It involves listening and waiting for the right moment to strike," which is said by King Bumi to Aang in Season 2 of Avatar: The Last Airbender. And King Bumi's point is kind of that sometimes you need to not take action or be defensive, and sometimes you just have to wait and kind of let the elements around you fall into place before you actually do anything. And sometimes you don't always have control over everything, so it's better to wait for the right time. So I've just always loved this quote and this idea of neutral Jing, and what better time to highlight it than when talking about Earthbenders. So getting to the ranking, at number 5, I have Lin Beifong, who is the eldest daughter of Toph and a very powerful Earthbender and Metalbender. She's the leader of the police force in Republic City at the beginning of the show and throughout the show, and she just shows she's a really powerful Earthbender. She's pretty much by Avatar Korra's side throughout the entire show. I think except Season 2, where she's kind of on the sidelines, and I think she's shown, but she's not really in the thick of the conflict with Avatar Korra. But in all the other seasons, she's right there supporting Korra and fighting with her, and is in fights throughout the entire show of The Legend of Korra. And she's just a really powerful Earthbender and Metalbender. She's clearly mastered both, and I love how she uses her whips the same way as the rest of the police force to metal bend around and swing herself around. And I know she's not the only one who uses those whips, but I think she's the most powerful one that we really see using those whips, and it really makes her more mobile than the typical Earthbender usually is. And I think she's an all-around great character and really powerful bender throughout. And despite losing her bending briefly in Season 1 of The Legend of Korra, I feel like she's a pretty consistently powerful bender throughout. And anyone who's been trained by Toph Beifong to be the leader of the police force in Republic City is gonna be a powerful bender, and I feel like she shows that consistently in her fights throughout the show. So even though I wouldn't take her as the most powerful Earthbender, I feel like she's still a really powerful Earth and Metal bender, which is why I put her at number 5 on this list. At number 4, I have Ghazan, who's the Lavabender from the Red Lotus on Zahir's team in Season 3 of The Legend of Korra. Of course, the thing that makes Ghazan the most powerful is that he's able to use lava bending, which makes him kind of a unique bender because there's not many people who can use lava bending. Aside from Avatars, it's really just Ghazan and Bolin that we know. So it makes him a character that's tough in a fight that most characters don't know how to respond to. He doesn't really use core Earthbending all that much, but when he does, he's pretty strong with it. And when he uses Earthbending combined with lava bending, I think he shows he's pretty powerful. I mean, he beats Fire Lord Zuko in a fight pretty easily, which is a scene that annoys me in The Legend of Korra because I don't know why they didn't have Zuko be a little bit more powerful in The Legend of Korra, kind of like Toph in Season 4. But they still show that Ghazan was able to beat him even though he was on the older side. And Ghazan and Bolin really come to a stalemate in the end once Bolin learns to lava bend, and Bolin's only able to subdue him once Mako enters the fight. So I would say that Ghazan is probably more powerful than Bolin and the most powerful Lavabender that we really get to meet out of the two. And when you put him in the larger group of Earthbenders, I think his Lavabending is super unique and is really the main reason he's at number 4 on this list. At number 3, I have King Bumi of Omashu from Avatar: The Last Airbender, who is Aang's friend from childhood that eventually grew up to be the king of Omashu. When Aang first meets him and starts fighting him, not realizing that it's his childhood friend, he says, "I'm the most powerful Earthbender that you'll ever meet." And I feel like he does live up to a powerful Earthbender reputation, but I don't think that he's the most powerful Earthbender that we meet. But despite that, I do think he's super powerful. I mean, he's in the White Lotus, which is full of powerful benders and important characters. And I do just love King Bumi as a character. He's kind of like the Mad King if he was silly and fun and goofy. He's kind of like an older version of Aang, where he's very wise and has some wise things to say and is able to be serious in important moments, but is also silly and fun and goofy at heart and able to make light of certain moments. And the main one-on-one fight that we see is really between him and Aang in season 1, and they do come to a stalemate, although King Bumi was probably not trying to really hurt Aang as much as he was trying to test him. And he does show he's powerful in that scene, and when we see him earthbending in the Siege of Ba Sing Se in season 3. So he's definitely a powerful character. We just don't really get to see him in many one-on-one fights with other powerful benders or powerful earthbenders specifically. So that makes it a little bit harder to put him higher on this list. I would say his most powerful moment is when he basically bends the entire city of Omashu. It shows he's able to bend on such a large scale. So again, definitely powerful, but he only is able to use earthbending and obviously not able to use metal bending or lava bending. So that puts him at a little bit of a disadvantage as compared to some characters who do use those sub-bending types. But again, still powerful character, which is why he appears at number 3 on this list. At number 2, I have Kuvira, who is the main villain of The Legend of Korra Season 4, and a super powerful earthbender and metal bender. She's a pretty young character, and she's a prodigy in metal bending, and she just kind of easily defeats many of our protagonists throughout season 4 of The Legend of Korra. With the support of her mechs and her minions, she's basically able to take on the entire Beifong family at once until Toph enters the fight. And I don't think she wanted the smoke from Toph, which is why she didn't pursue that fight, but she does hold them off until Toph comes in and kind of brings it to a stalemate. And I love her one-on-one fight with Su Yin. I think that's such a fast-paced and enjoyable fight to watch, and one of my low-key favorite fights in The Legend of Korra. And she does ultimately beat Su Yin in that one-on-one, and she beats Korra in their one-on-one when the two armies are watching. Granted, Korra is still recovering and still very rusty, but still, she's able to take on Korra using all 4 elements and make kind of mincemeat of her. When her and Korra face off in the end of the season, it's basically a stalemate. There's really no character that actually beats Kuvira. She either wins all of the fights she's in or brings them all to a stalemate. So there's really no one that can actually claim victory over her. And that just shows how powerful of a metal bender she is and earthbender she is. And that's why she is number 2 on this list. Just getting to some honorable mentions before I get to my first pick. I feel like earthbending has some really powerful benders in both Avatar: The Last Airbender and The Legend of Korra. And I feel like the top few are very, very powerful, but there's not as many mid-level powerful earthbender, so I only have 2 honorable mentions in this video. One of them is Su Yin Beifong, who is Lin Beifong's sister and Toph's other daughter. I feel like her and Lin are very, very close in power, and Su Yin trained Kuvira, so they were almost fighting for the 5th place spot because they are so similar and so close in power. And the other would be Bolin, who is the only other lava bender aside from Ghazan, and of course one of the main characters throughout The Legend of Korra. And I think he's a powerful earthbender and of course can lava bend, so that makes him powerful in itself. And I do love Bolin, and he is one of the main characters, but in my opinion, being one of the main characters doesn't get you on the list, so he's just here as an honorable mention. And at number 1, Toph Beifong. No real surprise here, she is a super powerful character and a fan favorite character throughout Avatar: The Last Airbender. Very powerful Earthbender throughout the show, and a very worthy addition to Team Avatar in Season 2 of Avatar: The Last Airbender. Just really powerful throughout the show, to the point where she's the first ever Metalbender. Everyone thought Metalbending was impossible until Toph was able to do it, and really made it commonplace as she got older and older into the events of The Legend of Korra. And she's a character that has a disability, but instead of being less powerful because of that disability, she actually has to rely on her earthbending more, which makes her more powerful, and she is able to do things that other characters haven't even thought of because she's able to rely on earthbending so much, which is why she's able to create metalbending, and she's also able to tell if characters are lying or not. I actually almost forgot lie detecting was a subgenre of earthbending, and Toph is able to do that, and sandbend, which is another one I almost forgot about. I don't think that any of the other characters on this list show that they can sandbend. I might be wrong about that, but I know Toph can. She wasn't able to do it at first and was kind of limited because she was blind, but over time she was able to learn it and become pretty good at it. So she really masters earthbending and all of the subgenres of earthbending except lavabending, but I would still take her in a fight over any of the lavabenders we know from either show. And she's just in a ton of fights throughout Avatar: The Last Airbender, and also trains Korra in earthbending and metalbending and helps her heal in The Legend of Korra, and is also able to connect with the forest and kind of know what's going on throughout the entire world. Just a super powerful character, one of the most powerful benders in general in either show. I could see her blindness being a weakness at times. There's one scene where Katara kind of splashes her with water and she doesn't see anything coming, but I feel like in most of her fights she's able to overcome that, and it does end up making her stronger. And I think she's the legacy character that's used the best in Legend of Korra and shows that she is still willing to enter the fight and kind of scares off Kuvira, because like I said, Kuvira definitely did not want the smoke from Toph. She did not want an answer to that question of who would win in a fight, because I think she knew that Toph would ultimately beat her. Unfortunately, we don't get to see that fight, but I think that was probably the right choice, because I think Toph would win, and you don't want Toph to win and have Kuvira look like a weaker villain. So Toph Beifong is definitely who I'm taking as the most powerful earthbender and my number 1 on this list. Thank you for joining me for this ranking, and again, I've already posted my ranking of the top 5 waterbenders, and will shortly be posting my ranking of the top 5 firebenders and airbenders. So if you're interested in those, I really hope that you subscribe to the channel and join me for those rankings, more Avatar and The Legend of Korra content, and more movie and TV content in general.